Hey kids, Dean with Crypto the Wonder Dog. You guys into sports, football? Man, I love football. And the sad thing about it is you don't get enough games during the year to really satisfy the real, true football fan. But you can't expect these guys to keep playing 4 games a week or whatever. So I see a growth in sports teams. And now sport leagues. So I talked to my buddy Sohrob, and he's created the Fan Control Football League, and that's going to be starting here really soon. He was part of another Screaming Eagles out of Salt Lake, and we had a good sit-down talk with him about football, and he's a Cowboy fan, and I'm a Cowboy fan, and you either love the Cowboys or you hate them. I don't think there's any middle of the road there. But we had a good talk there in LA, so I keep saying that we're going to be doing more video, and as a video producer and director, it's very hard to be on both sides of the camera at once. So I did a show with a couple other guys, and my cameras kept shutting off during the shoot. So I don't know how it's going to work out, man. I wish I had a team with me. That'd be great if we just had a team. But we talked about our show that's coming up, North American Sports and Blockchain Conference in LA. This is August 6th, 7th, and 8th. And if you guys are in LA, you want to come by and stop and check out the show, it's going to be awesome. You can pick up your tickets on Eventbrite. And check it out. It's nasbc.co. Right now, we've got about 69 days left. And here's our website so far. We're going to be updating that here really soon. So we have a VIP reception, cocktail reception on the 6th, and you want to be part of that. That's a limited number of tickets, so make sure you get your tickets early for that one. Be some surprise guests walking around shaking hands with people. On the 7th, we look like we're going to be starting registration about 8 o'clock. Goes to about 5 o'clock. We're going to have a speed networking there. And then at 6 o'clock, we're going to have an evening reception. And you're going to definitely want to be part of that one also. That one is a very, very, very good show that you're going to want to hang out with. The 8th is our final day, networking breakfast, warm-up, keynote speakers, blah, 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 coffee. Networking session, it's a 5-minute session for 30 minutes. You get speed networking. So that's something that my buddy Eamon and I have kind of worked on here a little bit. He's helping give me some ideas. And if you want to be part of this, I would encourage you to buy your tickets. Click on the little purple button there that takes you over to Eventbrite, where you can get your tickets for this. If you want to be part of the blockchain, the ICO pitch, you can be part of that. This is going to be the first of several for the North American Sports and Blockchain Conferences. This one is in LA, and as time goes on, we'll have more and more and more. We're also going to be putting up the North American Entertainment and Blockchain Conference. That'll be coming up later this year. So here's the title card for that. Over the past few weeks, we've been kind of getting behind on our shows. So here, let's get this one out today. This is episode 57 of the Crypto the Wonder Dog Show. Sohrob Farudi, FCFL.io. All right, you guys ready to start the show? All right, let's start the show. So, how do you pronounce your name?
Sohrob.
Yeah. That's not a common name that you hear in Texas.
No, it was probably me and my brothers are the only Persian rednecks there, so not a whole lot of us.
Virgin rednecks.
Yeah, my mom's from West Virginia and my dad's from Iran.
Really?
They met at WVU. Yeah, so
No way.
yeah, no, the real deal.
Holy cow! And so, how did you guys end up in Texas?
My dad got his first job. He's a psychologist. Got his first job down there in Austin, working for the state. So we moved on down.
Yeah. How'd you like it?
I was 9 when I left, but I have some pretty fond memories of being in South Texas, South Padre Island, fishing.
Oh yeah,
doing some fishing, and yeah, it was a fun time.
Yeah, I remember all my friends that when I had in Texas that they would go to like South Padre and to Corpus Christi and hang out in this place. I never got to go.
Yeah, it's fun.
Yeah, I never got to go to Austin either.
Oh, really?
I haven't been to Austin yet.
Well, you got to go. Nowadays, it's awesome.
Yeah,
go back to South by Southwest.
Have you been to that?
Yeah.
Did you just go?
I did. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I spoke last year as well. So
Did you?
I was on a panel. Yeah, it's great, man. South by is incredible.
Wow.
Yeah, bunch of brilliant people all getting together. Having fun, and the city itself, music and food and everything.
How many years have they been doing like crypto stuff there?
Actually, I think this was the first year for crypto.
Really?
Was this past year? Yeah. Okay. I mean, there was probably some smaller stuff, but this was the first year. It was kind of on.
But
the
you
agenda.
spoke at last year.
Last year, I spoke on sports and entertainment panel.
Oh, you did?
Yeah.
Oh, sports and entertainment.
Yeah, we owned the Screaming Eagles last year, which was Salt Lake Screaming Eagles, the first fan-run team. So I was down there talking about that.
Really? So how did that work?
So we bought a team in the Indoor Football League, which is a 10-team league in the Midwest and Pacific Northwest, which American football, 8-on-8, played on a 50-yard field. Most people are familiar with the Arena Football League.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Kurt Warner came out of that league, actually. So we owned a team in the Indoor Football League, and we let fans make all the decisions. So fans actually picked the city, which is why we ended up in Salt Lake. Fans voted on our coach, hired our coach. Fans picked our players.
What?
And then
really?
we built a mobile app and actually integrated play calling into Twitch chat, and fans called all the plays in real time for the team for a 16-game season.
No way. How did it work out?
It worked out fairly well. I mean, 10-team league, our offense run by the fans was the 3rd ranked offense in the league, which is, I think, saying a lot. Our quarterback was Rookie of the Year. Record-wise, we were 5-11. But we were an expansion team, and most of our problems were on defense, not on offense. So if we'd let the fans run the defense, we probably would have gone undefeated.
Wow. Yeah. So tell me, how does that whole world work and with football?
So we last year we surfaced 4 plays for fans to choose from. So kind of like a Tecmo Bowl Madden style of interface.
Yeah.
So fans would see 4 diagram plays. Those plays were pulled off of our back-end system, which was set up by our coach before every game, based on his play call sheet and it was all situational based play calls, right? So the idea is we wanted to put fans in a position to be successful. So it's not like we're showing them Hail Marys on, 3rd and 1, right? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, or on 1st and goal, right? So, I mean, the idea here was let's make fans, have a chance to be successful. Yeah. And it worked. I mean, fans enjoyed it. We had engagement from 100 different countries.
100 different countries.
100 countries. We literally have diehard fans that are still with us today that started back with us in 2016. And followed along from 2016 through the building of the team, because we spent a year basically building the team, and then February 2017, we played our first game, and those fans are still with us today as we're now moving into this next phase, which is building the fan-controlled football league. Yeah. And some of those guys are, it's from Australia and from the UK and from Germany, and I mean they're all France, all over the place. So it was really great to see this engagement in. Normally, American football, people think about it, it doesn't really move outside of North America.
No.
And we had really, really diehard fans from around the world, which was really, really cool.
Yeah, I think it's funny whenever I watch the games they have in England.
Yeah.
And you'll see the people in the stands, they're wearing every shirt that there is.
That's right.
It doesn't matter who's playing, they're going to wear.
It's just a football shirt.
Yeah, it's a football shirt.
Yeah.
So how do you guys go and get your players? How does that happen?
Yeah, the players are honestly the easiest part. I mean, if you think about how many college athletes graduate every year, it's thousands and thousands of guys. I mean, 8,000, 10,000 guys graduate that have played college football.
Yeah.
There's about 300 spots in the NFL every year.
300.
So it is not a lot of opportunity for guys coming out of college.
No.
So there are lots and lots of talented guys out there that want to continue playing that just have nowhere to go. There's nowhere else to play. There's a couple of small, indoor leagues, the Canadian Football League, but they've got restrictions on how many American players they'll take. So most of the guys on the Canadian football teams are actually Canadian-born players.
Wow.
So there's a big pool of talent and a very small place for them to go.
Is the interest in football dropping from kids playing college?
I mean, I think
when they realize what their slim chances are of actually getting into a
I mean because everybody's got a dream, right? I mean, I think every kid that plays sports from the time you're 3 years old, 4 years old, and you start knowing what these pros are.
Yeah.
I mean, I don't know that people give up on those dreams. Everybody thinks they can make it, and that's why college sports is so great. When you watch college sports, right? I mean,
they're passionate.
They are so passionate. They're not getting paid, and they are playing probably harder than the professionals.
Absolutely,
because they just care more, So to me the college game is thriving. I don't know that ever goes away. We want to create a new opportunity for fans to connect with professional players. We think there's a kind of a big gap between what fans want and what they're actually given right now. And that's really what we're focused on, is this kind of this interaction between fans and players in the game itself.
Yeah. Do you guys watch the NFL draft?
Yeah.
Okay.
For
and
sure.
So do you guys look at some of the players that went into that didn't get picked up?
Absolutely. Yeah. That's a lot of the big time guys that didn't get drafted, didn't get that phone call after the draft for the free agent pickups. Those are the guys we're going to be looking at for sure.
Okay. Do you guys go scouting like the other teams?
One
of colleges.
Yeah, one of my co-founders, a guy by the name of Ray Austin, played in the NFL for 5 years. So he was at the University of Tennessee, played with Peyton Manning, was drafted in the third round by the New York Jets, played a couple years with the Jets, a couple years with the Bears, and he's running our football operation. So
really,
we're going to be out. We're talking to all the scouts, going to all the big bowl games and combines and everything, and making sure that the young guys that are coming out of school know that the fan-controlled football league is going to be an opportunity for them to come play.
Wow. And are you guys involving like other kids, like high school kids, and
We're not going to go that route. And there's a league actually getting started, the Pacific Pro League, which is going to take guys just out of high school and letting them kind of bypass college,
really
play a couple of years, semi-professionally before they get called up to the NFL. I'm skeptical at how well that's going to do, but there's somebody else kind of focused on that. So we're going to focus on just the guys coming out of college that want to play the game.
All right. And what about the teams here in LA?
No, we're building the league in Vegas. So
building a league in Vegas.
Yeah.
Are you gonna be part of the new stadium?
No, we're gonna be playing. Our league is gonna be an 8-team league. All the teams play in the same facility, and they're all going to be playing more like a big production studio rather than a big arena. So the idea is to recreate the game for the digital fan, right? So these are live games, live broadcasts, but there might be a television studio audience of 12 or 1,500 people. Really what we're focused on is the experience for the digital fan.
Oh, okay. So this goes into the blockchain technology.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
So how were you guys introduced to that?
So we had an interesting fan vote last year with our team in Salt Lake City, where we had a chance to bring a guy by the name of Greg Hardy onto the team.
Greg Hardy.
Yeah, you know that name?
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so Greg obviously has had his trials and tribulations off the field. On the field, no doubt, very, very talented guy.
Yeah.
But a guy that got blackballed basically at the NFL level by all 32 teams, all 32 owners. Those guys decided when Greg was, and literally he's at the peak of his career, right? I think he was 28 or 29 years old. Yeah. Should have been signing a $15 million a year deal. Yeah. Instead, wasn't playing anymore in the NFL. So we got a chance to bring Greg to our team, but we were a fan-run team. So we said, Greg, we'd be open to giving you an opportunity to play, but this is going to be a fan decision. So we put it out to fan vote. The vote was 51% to 49% no. So we did not bring Greg Hardy by one percentage point. 1%. So and we're fine with that, right? Whatever the fans want, that's what we get. That's the premise of what we're building. The problem was the 49% of people that voted yes didn't believe the vote. They said, hey, you guys rigged this. This is bullshit. You know, you were never going to
Really?
bring Greg anyways. And there was no way for us to prove the vote, right? We have a centralized database. I mean, we could open up our database, but they could say, oh, you rigged it. So that's when we really started looking at what are the opportunities for us to create true transparency in voting process. Because if we're going to go out and build this league where, you know, fans get a chance to make all these decisions, I mean, at the end of the day, our fans in our league determine the players' careers. They determine the coaches' careers. Like there is a lot riding on these votes, right? Yeah. So we wanted transparency, and really we're drawn to blockchain for first and foremost that opportunity to create truly transparent voting mechanism. Yeah. And then from there, the idea of, you know, we look at this as creating a real life video game. The fan-controlled football league is at its essence, it's going to be a real life league with real players and real coaches, and fans control it like a video game. And so the opportunity to tokenize that entire environment. So the tokens in our league are the voting power. So the more tokens you have as a fan, the more voting power and influence you have over the team. And you can earn those tokens as you play, right? And as you participate. So for us, it just fit really well into our model to create this kind of tokenized ecosystem. And now the ruling last week with legalizing sports betting across the states. For us, that's another reason we wanted to be in it and have a token that we could own and control that would allow our league to actually benefit in our own ecosystem from enabling, you know, gambling, sports gambling in our app based on and using our token. So a lot of benefits to kind of tokenizing and being able to provide that environment.
Wow, and the players, they can, I mean the voters, the participants in this, they can bet against each other, or
correct? Yeah, they're going to be able to bet against each other.
Wow. Yeah. And against different teams and
yeah. So, and as a fan, you're going to have to choose one team that you call plays for. So you can't team hop and call plays for multiple teams. Good. But you can obviously bet on all the teams that you want. So we'll open up and enable the betting on every team. Okay.
So what's the app called?
Well, it's not out yet, but it'll be the fan-controlled football league.
Fan-controlled football league.
FCFL.
FCFL. Okay. And when do you think that's going to be released, or can you talk about that?
I'd say late summer, early fall for the app. The league itself, we're going to be kicking off in May of next year. So we're spending the next 11, 12 months building the league. We've got a partnership with Twitch, so all of our games are going to be live streamed on Twitch and integrated into the Twitch platform. We're working with CAA and IMG to help on building the league and recruiting talent and influencers and players and sponsors and the whole nine. So,
sponsors are important, aren't they?
Yeah, huge. Yeah, there's a huge piece. We're in order to build a real sustainable business, right? We need to build a solid foundation, and sponsors for a sports league are pretty critical.
Yeah. Do you guys go after play? And you don't have to be very specific, but things like Nike and shoe companies.
Absolutely. The idea is to take each vertical and identify a partner in each of those verticals, right? So we'll be going after all those guys.
Right on. And they do you know of any major brands that are actually participating in any kind of blockchain or cryptocurrency type of atmosphere?
There are some guys. I mean, look, there's big companies that are exploring using blockchain right for themselves. As far as partnering or being involved with a token company or a cryptocurrency, I think it's few and far between. I mean, there's guys like like Square, for example, who are going to be enabling Bitcoin, payment and receipt. So I mean, the big guys are starting to dabble. I think our relationship with Twitch, Twitch is owned by Amazon. For us, Amazon bought Twitch 3 or 4 years ago for about $1 billion. And honestly, they got a good deal. That was a really good deal.
Wow.
They, for us, I think that was a milestone, right? To be able to partner with an Amazon-owned company, knowing that we're going to be doing this token environment and that we're using blockchain. That was a big deal for us. So
amazing. And being with Amazon, do you think that's going to be like on Amazon Prime Live or what?
Our goal is so Twitch is a live streaming platform. Mm-hmm. They were solely focused on video games to start, so live streaming of video games. They now have over 120 million unique users a month and 15 million a day. I mean, these are
15 million a day.
15 million uniques a day, consuming over 100 minutes of video content a day. So this is
oh my God.
They're the number one live streaming game platform in the world.
Yeah.
So we're lucky to be with them, and we got some great distribution for our games. Our goal is to not only just focus on the games themselves, but on additional content. So we think we're going to get some really colorful players in this league, some really colorful coaches in this league, with fans actually getting to make the decision on who the players and coaches are.
Yeah.
It's going to be as much about personality as it is about skills. So we think we're going to get guys, and we hope guys like T.O. and Chad Johnson, and not that those guys are going to come play in this league, but guys with big personalities that are going to be entertaining the fans as much as they are catching the ball or honing their craft on the field.
Yeah.
So that's what we're excited about, and I think from that, and the fact that we're in Vegas, there's some really cool opportunities for content, which is why we're excited to work with IMG. So IMG is going to be producing our live games. We're going to be looking at a bunch of different show concepts for shoulder content and things like that around the league.
Yeah.
Hopefully Amazon Prime is one of the places that our shows end up. Or, Facebook is another logical place to do shows as well. So there's a lot of, the good news is, the content industry is alive and kicking, and there are lots of people looking for lots of quality content.
Yeah.
And I think we'll have some really unique stuff with this, fan-involved, fan-engaged football league.
Yeah, you're going to be doing shows like the training camp type shows, and
I think Hard Knocks meets High Tech type of a show. There's so many of those. We don't want to. We don't want to oversaturate. But I think anything that we do, we want to involve fans. So I think anything we do will have some sort of interactive component or element, which will make it a little bit more sticky and a little bit more interesting. So,
and I think that showing that to other people that aren't familiar with it, showing how that works would get more people involved.
Exactly. Yeah, that idea of kind of laying the foundation of what is this league. Maybe there's a show like the making of a football league, right? And we can actually let people kind of come on this journey with us as we build this league from the ground up, right? We're going to have almost 200 players in Vegas playing on 8 different teams, and kind of showing what that's like to kind of put that thing together from scratch.
Yeah.
It could be pretty compelling.
How long is the season?
Season will be 3 months. We're doing 1 hour games. We're doing a 3-month season. Our whole concept is let's make this as much like a video game as possible.
Okay.
Some of these other leagues, not that I'm not knocking any of the big leagues, but the feedback from the younger generations is games are too long, seasons are too long. People don't have long attention spans anymore, right? They want snackable content. Wow. So for us, even our games are going to be 1 hour. This is an idea. Sit down.
Like 1 hour, like
start to finish.
Start to finish.
Yeah. It's literally.
So it's not like no timeouts or anything.
Two 25-minute running halves, short.
And it just
short half
clock
time.
just keeps moving.
Clock keeps moving.
No timeouts.
We're getting rid of the kicking game. We're going to get rid of a lot of the dead stoppages of plays and dead time. That's in the NFL and the college game right now.
Yeah.
So you get rid of kicking. Just kicking in general. You think about you score a touchdown, then you set up. You bring a whole another team out to kick the extra point.
Yeah.
Then you bring that whole team off the field to then go kick off. And then a whole nother team. You're literally talking about 10 minutes of dead time between scoring a touchdown and the other team getting the ball. You eliminate that whole concept and just give the other team the ball, and you can really move the chains.
And so you have a stadium, right?
Yeah, this is going to be played in we're working with a group called the Downtown Project in Vegas. They own a bunch of property in downtown, kind of Fremont Street area, which is the old strip. So we're looking at a couple different lots down there. We're either going to do kind of a temporary, semi-permanent structure for the first season, which will be like kind of like a pop-up tent type of, environment, or we're looking at some big empty warehouse space. So looking at a 50,000 square foot warehouse, and then we'll build out the inside of that to be more like a big production environment with the field, and that's where all the games.
Are there going to be fans there watching?
Yeah, about 1,000 fans, something like that, 1,500 fans. So.
Now, when you think about having fans there, and you've only got a 1 hour game, do you think that's enough time for them to
Well, we're going to be doing 4 games a day. So
so they're there for 4 games.
You can come out to see a game, and you can see 4 games in about 5 hours is the idea.
Oh, well, that's different.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And a 3-month season. So
and a 3-month season. And where the goal is to do two seasons a year. We haven't. So right now we're working with Twitch on the streaming side. We are talking to all the big networks about a linear television deal. So we haven't picked a day of the week yet. And we actually haven't picked an exact kickoff date yet because we want to provide some flexibility for a television partner to kind of lock in on, hey, we'd rather have you guys start in April, or hey, we'd rather have you guys start in May. And oh, by the way, Tuesday nights are the best night for us to give you a slot.
Okay.
So we're very flexible in terms of, the Twitch audience, the streaming audience, they don't care. We could basically play whenever. You have some peaks and valleys, but for the most part, as long as you're not playing at 3 a.m, you're good. So we feel comfortable on the streaming side. So it's really about giving some flexibility for the network partner.
All right. Is this going to grow into what your idea is? This going to grow into every state is going to have something like this?
Well, I don't think every state, because what we call it is a league in a box, right? We're putting 8 teams in one location. So I could see having maybe 2 or 3 of these in the US, but our goal is to incorporate this internationally. I mean, we'd like to go do one of these in Australia, and we'd like to go do these in the UK, and do one of these in China.
Yeah.
So you have kind of these, leagues. When we're starting with 8 teams, we'd like to get up to, 16 teams or 24 teams, and do that in each of those locations. And then you can have kind of a world champion come out of each of those locations.
Would they play each other?
Only in the playoffs or championship games. Yeah,
okay.
They wouldn't travel across the pond very often. One of the reasons we're doing what we're doing is we owned this team last year in the Indoor Football League. I was a part owner in a team in the Arena Football League. Prior to that, travel is a disaster for any team that is not a major league team.
Really?
If you think about it, a typical football team, 16-game season, you have 8 away games. You have no way to monetize those games, right? So you're talking about 8 times you travel, and you're not just traveling yourself. You're traveling 35, 40 people 8 times. You got to pay for plane tickets. You got to pay for food. You got to pay for hotel. It's not like the hosting team pays for any of that stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So your expenses are $30, $40, maybe sometimes $50,000 to go play an away game, and you have 0 opportunity to have any revenue come out of that game. So It is a massive, massive expense to run teams that way.
So they don't get any of the TV funds or anything?
Well, most of those leagues don't have any TV money. That's the problem. There's no money in it. So when we looked at this, we said, what can we do to reduce the overhead of running a league?
Yeah.
And then what can we do to create a more compelling product? So TV and linear and streaming and sponsors, would be interested in the product. And for us, it was about this truly interactive sport where fans get to make decisions in real time. They get to impact the game on the field. And then, reducing overhead. Like I said, it's a league in a box. All the teams play in one place. All the guys live in one place. Everything is in one spot. I mean, from a shoulder content standpoint, we can now create content for all 8 teams, all in one location. We can do it all with one crew. Yeah. It really changes the way, from a content perspective, that you can build a league.
Yeah, saving on hotel rooms and
everything. Yeah.
You think there's going to be superstars that?
I think so.
That's going to get tapped by the NFL or anything.
That would be. That would be ideal, right? If we can send a guy or 2 up a year that actually get a chance to play in the NFL, would, for us, that'd be a home run. I don't know that we're necessarily focused on being a feeder system to the NFL. I was about to say,
you probably don't want all of the guys to run away from you.
Yeah, you want a couple, right? Like everybody talks about the Arena Football League, and the reason they talk about it is because Kurt Warner was bagging groceries, then he played in the Arena Football League, and then he won the Super Bowl in the NFL, right? Yeah. So that story, kind of captures the essence of what the Arena Football League is. For us, I think we want to focus on that opportunity for fan involvement and engagement with the game and with the players. And one of the things we always talk about is, not sure how familiar you are, the listeners are, with Twitch, but Twitch has so much unique functionality for us to be able to provide what we call a platform for the players themselves. So the idea is each of these players during a game, we're going to mic up the player and we're going to put a helmet camera on the guys, right? So
really?
And it's not going to be every guy every game, but we're going to rotate those. So every guy gets an opportunity. He's going to get his own stream. And as a fan, you'll be able to follow that player in that first person view for the entire game, whether he's on the bench or he's on the field. He knows that you're following him. He knows he's talking to you. So he's going to entertain his fans for the entire hour.
No way.
So
That's
that
awesome.
opportunity to bring fans into the game in a way that they've never done before, and to give the player an opportunity to build his brand, build his reputation, build a following, right? Become an influencer. So he plays 3, 4, 5 years in our league. It's not like he's going to make $10 million playing in the fan-controlled football league, at least not year 1 or 2. Hopefully we get big enough we can pay guys a lot of money.
Yeah.
But the first couple of years you can't. But if we can give the players a platform to then when they come out of the league, they've actually got a following and they've got a chance to be able to build a brand and monetize in additional ways outside of what they're doing with the league. For us, that's really important, and I think it's something not a lot of the other leagues actually outside of the Big Five just don't have an opportunity to do that.
What about cards? What about football cards?
Absolutely, I'm glad you brought that up. Yeah, so one of the other reasons. Didn't happen last year, but what I love about being in blockchain, right? What I love about this whole thing is it's so new. You don't know what's going to come.
No, you don't.
But being in it gives you the opportunity to take advantage. So, for example, ERC 721s, right? This whole CryptoKitties craze. CryptoKitties is the first one to take advantage of it. This non-fungible tokens. I think digital collectibles are going to be a massive opportunity in the next 3 to 5 years because of what blockchain is providing. Yeah. So for us, every player that comes into our league, we're going to create ERC 721's collectible cards for each of those players and give fans a chance to collect those cards, buy packs of those cards, use I say cards, they're tokens, right? Yeah. Use those tokens in other games. So we can create now fantasy games where you have to have the player's token to use it in the fantasy game, right? So there's just so many interesting opportunities that blockchain, and honestly, 6 months ago, 8 months ago, wasn't even on our radar because ERC 721 wasn't something that anybody was talking about or many people knew about, right? And now it's something that you can actually build and incorporate into your ecosystem. So
talking about that, are some of the big names like Topps or these card companies, are they going to get involved with anything like this? Do you think?
I would be shocked if they didn't. I think if you look at going back to the younger generations and what people are doing now, everything's on your phone or you're playing on consoles, right? Or you're playing on desktop, or you're playing games. There's so many things that you're collecting already in these games, right? So I think as the real world moves digital, I think those type of guys, your Tops and your Upper Deck and the guys that were, relying on cardboard cards, the young kids, they're not going to want them anymore. They're going to want something similar and parallel in the digital world, and the opportunity to put that on a blockchain where you can do one-of-one unique cards that can be verified, right? And you can transact them very easily. It's a massive opportunity.
Yeah, you don't have to worry about your kid going, what's this?
That's right. Or grandma throwing them away, right? Yeah, exactly.
Or sticking them on your bike and run against your spokes.
That's right. Exactly.
Yeah, I did that.
Yeah, I think
oh man.
Yeah, we all did that.
Yeah. Well, that's great. Yeah, because I've been in memorabilia and sports and cards and stuff, and so and I've lost things over the years.
Yep.
And this way, you don't have to worry about the mint condition of any card.
That's right. Yeah. No, I actually am I was a really big basketball collector for quite a number of years. It took up way too much of my time. So now it's a little less of a hobby than it was. But I think that opportunity alone, there's some companies that are going to be in a world of hurt. Beckett's a big one. They do a lot of the card grading now. It's not going to be a need for card grading when you move digital, Yeah. So, blockchain is going to revolutionize a lot of industries. I think collectibles is a big one.
Yeah, but of course you can't really blockchain a helmet
or a jersey
team or
That's
a jersey. Right. Yeah. But those cards are great.
But you could, right? So you could have it would be a little bit of a centralized system, but you could have, or you could even have the teams do it. So let's say I'm a Cowboys fan, you're a Cowboys fan.
Yeah.
Let's say the Cowboys after a game, they collect a bunch of jerseys, they get the players to autograph them, they take pictures of them, they put them in a vault, and they tokenize each of those jerseys. And now there's a digital version of that jersey that the Dallas Cowboys authenticated, that they say, if you ever want it, you could trade in your digital token and we'll ship it to you, but we're holding it for you in a vault. So now you have a representation in digital form of a physical object. And I think that is going to be another opportunity. Now, again, now you have to put your trust in a centralized, the Cowboys.
Yep.
So you might have some third parties pop up and maybe there's going to be some trust issues. But I think if you have big trustworthy organizations like that start doing that, the opportunities are massive. And you think about just from the collectible market in general, me's trying to sell you a jersey. How do you authenticate it? How do I ship it to you? Who pays first? Does it go into escrow? You have all this crap. Oh, yeah. If you have a token and you can verify it on the blockchain that the Cowboys have that jersey in their vault and I own the token and you say you want to buy it, you send me Ether or Bitcoin, I send you the token, we're done. Yeah. So it's it really dynamically changes that particular industry. Yeah. And that's just one example of what's being disrupted.
That's crazy. So when you've been to a few shows now, you've been to a few cryptocurrency shows, right?
To 100 shows.
Oh, wow.
It's been a whirlwind of travel over the last 6 or 8 months. Yeah.
Has it?
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, I was just the last couple of weeks. I was in Singapore. I was in Hong Kong.
No way.
I've been into South Korea, Puerto Rico, New York. I mean, I've been all over the place.
Wow.
Yeah.
And when you're going, when you're speaking, and you're giving people knowledge about sports and the football and the tokenizing and stuff. So what do you usually talk about when you go?
It's funny because what we're doing is in this kind of the center of so many different industries. We're in the kind of real life sports industry. Mm-hmm. We're kind of in this fantasy and gaming industry. Yeah. We're obviously in the blockchain industry, right? So over the last 6 months, I've been a speaker on a panel or giving keynotes at a fantasy trade convention, at a sports and digital entertainment convention, at blockchain and crypto conventions, right? So it's really cool to kind of be pulling these worlds together. Yeah. So it really depends on the audience, right? If I'm at a fantasy sports or a sports convention, I'm the quote unquote blockchain expert in the room, and I'm talking about how I think the world of sports entertainment is going to be moving to blockchain and how blockchain is going to be disrupting, right? Yeah. If I go to a blockchain and crypto convention, I'm now the sports expert in the room because there are very few sports projects that are looking at blockchain at the moment, right? Yeah. So for me, now we're the sports experts in the room, and we're talking about how we're actually incorporating blockchain and tokens into this real world sports product, right? So it's been really exciting. I mean, look, I've learned a lot. Anybody who tells you they're a blockchain expert's full of shit because nobody's a blockchain expert, right? Because it's such a new industry,
right? Of course, yeah.
So, you hear guys, I've got guys coming to me, oh yeah, I'd love to advise your project. I'm like, oh, okay, well, who are you? Well, I bought Bitcoin, 2 years ago, so I got in early. I'm like, great, that doesn't make you an expert in fucking blockchain. I mean, give me a break. So I think to me, look, I started looking at this probably 14, 15 months ago. Yeah. So I do not consider myself an expert by any means. There's way too much to know. Yeah. But what I love about it is the opportunity to constantly learn and like we talked about, there's so many people in this industry that are willing to help. And I think that goes back to the rising tide lifts all boats. Everybody in this space wants everybody else to be successful because they know if there are big successes out there, it'll lift everybody up. And that's what's been fun about it. I mean, I've been in a bunch of industries where it's cutthroat, backstabbing. Like, that, I was in the mobile space, right? I know that if I was selling a phone, somebody else wasn't. And he knows that too, so he's going to try to undercut me, right? Yeah. Here it's very, very different. So it's a much more, at least in the early goings. I'm sure it'll change, down the road. But right now, everybody is willing to help everybody, and it's a really fun space to be in. It
really is, man. And you're right. The more people that know about it, the bigger that it'll get, and the more opportunities for other people to benefit from it.
Absolutely.
And not only monetarily, but with technology and better their lives, and So it's awesome, man. I'm loving it. I'm digging it, and I'm having a good time. And I think it's the sun hasn't even risen yet on this man. It's crazy.
Yeah, I have a bunch of friends who's like, oh man, I missed the boat. Bitcoin's already at 8,000. Hit 20 and it's at 8. I'm like, man, we're so early.
They're still at the dock. Don't worry.
Exactly. Yeah, we're very, very early. So
the sailors are still on the street party, and
that's right. Yep.
They're not coming back for a while. Yeah, this is awesome, man. So there's a show coming up that you might have heard about, the North American Sports and Blockchain Convention.
Yep.
So, we understand that you have a big interest in, or we have a big interest in having you be part of that.
Yeah, we'd love to. Absolutely.
Yeah. So we're that's the reason I was kind of late today. Was that we're still putting the website and the pitch deck and everything together. So we're gonna have that out, and hopefully by the time people hear this, it'll already be on the web.
Great.
It was supposed to be in this morning, so we'll get that out. But Eamon.
Yes.
And what's your history with Eamon?
Well, actually, I think Jen knows Eamon better than I do.
Oh,
so,
okay. Yeah, because we were trying to do for a while, like every Wednesday we were doing a sports and blockchain, sports and crypto show on on the Wonder Dog show.
Oh, nice.
So I think that's kind of how we had this brainchild to develop this.
Pull it all
show.
together.
Yeah. So I know that he's being pulled in a million different directions. So it's, he's kind of said, well, there you go do it.
Well, look, I think there's so many blockchain and crypto shows, but there's so few focused shows.
Yeah.
So I think being able to focus on one particular industry and I think it'll be smaller, but to me it'll be much more beneficial. Like you go into like New York Blockchain Week, right? And Consensus. It's like 6,000 people there, everybody doing something different. And it is so hard to get anybody's time or attention because there's every project under the sun, every industry under the sun. So to me, having a much more focused experience where everybody you talk to could potentially in some way be a partner or an investor or a collaborator, or it would be a much more, I think, intimate gathering, and from that I think you'll get a lot better experience out of it.
Yeah, I think they'll have a lot more fun because you go to these and there's somebody that's selling tokens to for a dating app.
That's right.
And you're married, so what's
right.
that going to do for me?
Exactly.
So
yep.
Yeah, this is great, and there are so many different aspects to sports that you don't even realize yet that a token or the blockchain could help out.
Absolutely.
And to have these people. So are you going to be able to? What we want to do is bring people from outside of the community, right?
Yep.
Into this.
Yep.
To expose people to this.
Yep.
So that's the kind of important thing is like getting other sports teams that know anything about our athletes and. So athletes, do you see some of the athletes that are going to be developing a way for people to invest in them?
I think that's
through this, right?
I think that's absolutely going to happen. There's a couple projects out there right now that are focused on that type of stuff, more of the influencer, athlete being able to monetize this and whatever its special experiences, or there's some, forget exactly what the company was called, but at one point there was a company and I think Arian Foster, if you remember him from the Houston Texans, he was the first big one to do it. He let fans buy into his future earnings. And unfortunately, right when he did that is when he had his multiple injuries and basically fell out of the league. Yeah. But they were, I think there's some interesting opportunities if you look at the kind of a tokenization play, right? A blockchain play to let athletes, basically tokenize their future earnings and let people invest in those. Now, those are going to be security tokens, which is very different than kind of the utility play, right? And so you're going to have to be an accredited investor, and there's going to be certain exchanges that those tokens can be traded on. But I think those are some really interesting things that athletes start looking at this, they can do. I'm really excited about team ownership on the blockchain. One of the things that we want to do in our league, we're going to do it in year one because we don't want to bite off more than we can chew, but year 2, year 3, we want to tokenize each of the teams, and we want to let fans actually buy and own the teams, right? And have that on a token. So to me, I think that's, looking down 5 years from now when people get comfortable with blockchain, and especially from an equity side, when this gets all sorted out and there's some exchanges out there. T0 is the big one, still not live yet, but there'll be some big equity exchanges out there for tokens. I think you'll see a lot of these clubs start selling pieces of themselves. Now, they're not going to sell everything because owners are going to want to own. Of course. But they might take 5%, 10%, 20% of their teams and put them on the public markets and let people actually be team owners and create liquidity. And I think there's some real opportunities for teams around the world to be able to do that.
Yeah, and it kind of spreads the wealth a little bit without being a
not a communist, but what
Yeah.
I forgot what that term is called, but hanging out with Sanders and company.
That's right.
Well, this is great, man. I'm glad that we got turned on to each other and that you can be part of this event with us. And
Yeah, we're excited. We'd love to.
Yeah,
I
this
think
is
we
really cool.
got a good community of engaged fans and supporters, so
Yeah.
I'm sure we can turn them on to the show.
Cool, man.
Awesome.
Good hanging out with you.
Yeah, thanks for it. Appreciate it.